Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am so excited to have Focus James on with us today. How are you, Focus?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me, Kim. I love your show. I appreciate being here.
Thank you for being here today, and we have a great show lined up for you all, everyone. I want you to grab your virtual seats and know that we're going to be talking today with this woman entrepreneur who has done a tremendous job of just kicking some issues in the head of life. And she's here to share with us how to be able to overcome some of the same type of obstacles or even obstacles that you may be dealing with that have nothing to do with relationships. She has advice that's going to change your life. Before we even get formally started with the topic itself, I know we were talking backstage and we were talking about the fact that your daughter is dealing with something that I didn't even know was so prevalent in today's society. So talk to us about that for a little bit.
Yes. So my daughter Simone, as you all know for my fans, Honey Pot, she actually has long COVID. She's had it for about 2 years now. We could not figure it out. We went to about 5 specialists all over trying to figure out what was going on with her. She lost a total of 38 pounds, and the gastrologist actually diagnosed it. And we were so happy to get a diagnosis. It's called long COVID. And all that means is that COVID came in her body, and when it left some dysfunctions in her system. So she has what's called an autonomic dysfunction. That means she can run hot and cold at any moment, be fatigued. The last 3 months of last year, she didn't go to school. She was sleeping like 14, 16-hour days. So I had to put my business down so I could really take care of my baby. So Kim, she and I are both going back, to school because I'm actually going back as a substitute teacher to supplement my income because I was taking care of my baby, right?
Right. And doing what it takes. I mean, so basically no business matters if your child is sick.
You got it. So I had a handful of clients and they're loyal clients. I had speaking engagements and I have supplemental income because I'm a landlord as well. So it sustained me. So I'm so grateful that I was an entrepreneur because many days she could not walk out the door. And I cannot imagine if I had my regular 9 to 5 from my previous corporate job trying to maintain that. So that's why I'm doing substitute teaching as well. So I'm looking forward to being back with the kiddos, but that way I know she walked out the door. So now I can walk out the door. Right.
Wow. And how important is that as a mom to have that ability to be able to say, I'm going to be where I need to be right now, no matter what, because everybody can't do that. And it's no harm or no judgment to those.
Not at all.
Yeah. But for you, how did that make you feel that you were able to make that happen?
Yeah, it made me feel amazing. I was so grateful for it. Actually, I got a really tiny home in the suburbs of Philadelphia because of that reason. My mom was getting up of age, and my realtor and my financial planner kept saying, "Focus, why are you getting this small home?" I said, "Because I want to live, and we got to turn the lights on and eat sometimes, right?" So, and my son, he's so creative. He likes to jet and fly, and he plays like 4 instruments and sing. So I want to be able to contribute to that. So financially, I had already set myself up, Kim. So when my mom did get ill, I was able to support and take care of her because I had this business. Plus I had a 9 to 5, but I had a very small mortgage. So very strategic. I'm a frugal sister because I like my freedom more than a big home and a new car. That's just my preference, right? So I was really grateful to be able to stay home with her and take care of her.
I'm so glad that it worked out. And for her being your child, knowing that she's been dealing with this long-term, unexpected, unbeknownst to her, what did it do for her to know that mom would pretty much drop everything and say, you're my focus? If you talk about focus, you are my focus.
Yes.
What did that mean for Simone?
Well, she has a lot of friends who, in this area where we live at, there's some people that's making some great six figures, big, beautiful homes. So when she would go to their homes, she was like, "Hey, mom, we need to upgrade. We need to." I said, "Yeah, but recognize I'm the mom dropping everybody off and picking everybody up. No shade to those parents, but they got to
Right.
work." I was like, "So we got to have this work life balance because I could upgrade my car, I could upgrade our home, but here's what
Right.
you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on mommy being here for all of your events. I'm at every school function. I'm the one dropping off, picking up at movie and going to parks and all that good stuff." And she really got it when she got sick. She was like, "Wow." I said, "Because right now I would need to be rushing out the door to pay that card note. Rather I'm working more in the office, right?" So she really
Right.
appreciated that I was home because I was able to go to every doctor's appointment. And at the drop of the hat, we had like 3 specialists that needed an appointment like the next day because it was a cancellation type thing,
Mm.
right? And we were able to get right out the door, Kim. So she really appreciated the fact that I was able to be there.
Well, I'm so grateful that she's okay. She's
So
thriving through this. You all are
yes,
both returning back to some level of normalcy in your life.
yes, yes.
And
Oh,
according
I
to
like that word, normalcy.
normalcy, right? What
Yes,
is that,
mhm,
right? But
yes,
ABC News actually, according to some statistics here, says that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services estimate that anywhere from 7.7 million to
mhm,
23
mhm,
million Americans
yeah,
have developed long COVID. And
yes,
who knew that, someone would be on the show that is
yes.
dealing with this firsthand? Wow.
Yes, and let me tell you, there's a whole department in CHOP. CHOP is one of the number one children hospital in Philadelphia, right? They have
Right.
locations all over. They have a whole department dedicated to it. So we went on a specialty day. Hey guys, and this is all about life coaching and love and relationships, right? Because without having the proper systems in place, it can affect your love life and everything else, especially when it comes to your children. They're so vulnerable. So we still on topic for those that
Yeah.
jumping on us like, wait a minute, focus. We were going to talk about breakups. Well, let me tell you, one of the top ways to break up a family is money and children.
Yes.
So we still on topic, I promise you, because without having that in place, you're gonna have a hard time, right? But it's a whole department set up, Kim, and we got to see 6 specialists in one day. That's how
Wow.
unique this is. That's how important. That's how serious they're taking this because they suspect that this is going to affect her up to maybe like 25, if not forever, right? So I don't tell her that. That's between us,
Well, I
right?
think it's out.
But
I think you just let the cat out of the bag. You're on a whole
right.
show. If
I
you weren't
know.
gonna tell her
She
that, you would
she
have
doesn't
said it.
watch my show. She did her to see so much. She never like really watches my show. She's like, oh, that's my mom.
All right,
How they
right. You'd
feel.
be surprised how our young
True,
people tune in different
true.
regards, though.
You're right. You
My
totally
children
right.
will quote some stuff, and I don't even know they're on. I'm
I
like,
know. Yes, yes, I agree. She's been like this life coach at her summer camp, coaching these couples through. And she comes back and say, "Well, mom, I told him this," and she's listening for me to confirm if it was right or not. I didn't even
right.
know she was paying that much attention.
Right, right. Well,
Mhm.
let me introduce Focus James, everybody. Two-time best-selling author Focus James is the CEO of the Focus of Love LLC. She is also the head love and life coach and business coach, and her company specializes in helping men and women who have success in all areas of life except
Yes.
in the area of romance. So
Love.
her
Mhm.
hashtag is heal the hurt. We're going to
Yes.
talk a lot more with Focus. Her certifications and her completions is through
Mhm.
Les Brown and James Dentley Inspire to
Yes.
Speak Speakers Boot Camp. She's also
Amen.
been trained with John C. Maxwell, certified teacher, trainer, and speaker. And this woman has, again, so much information that's going to be shared today. The nuggets are going to be juicy.
That's our favorite word,
Relationship
juicy.
advice. So go ahead and grab your virtual seats. Make sure you
Yes.
share this broadcast. Start tagging some of your friends because a lot of
Yes.
people have questions that will get answered on today's
Mhm.
episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. We're
Yes.
going to take a commercial break, come right back. And I
Mhm.
want you, if you will, Focus, to go into your
Mhm.
backstory some because
Okay.
one of the things you said, and I quote here, is that yeah, this was when loving God
Mhm.
isn't enough to sustain
Yes.
your marriage.
Mhm.
Ooh, y'all. I want you to talk
Mhm.
about that when we come right back
Absolutely.
after this commercial break.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm attorney Charles
good
Everidge.
stuff.
I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
All right, everyone, we are back talking with Focus James. Focus, talk to us about your backstory.
Yeah, loving God is not enough. Well, most of people that are going to some type of religion, it's normally some kind of brokenness that's happening if you're going later in your years, unless you're just reared there, right? So we got a new relationship with God. We're learning how to love Him.
Right.
So let alone trying to get married, And for me, specifically, I came to the church at 16, and that's because, unbeknownst to me, I just found out that my father had committed suicide. Now, Kim, he had passed away when I was 10, and I was told it was an aneurysm because I was 10, right? So people were trying to protect me, if you will. And then I was really sad at 16, like, where's my pop? I miss having a male figure.
Yeah.
My mom called my brother to come check on me, and he said, I don't care what people say, he didn't commit suicide. I was like, wait, what? Because I had never heard that.
I never even heard that.
I never even heard that. So I was totally stunned. He was like, listen, I got someone to be your father. Come to church with me and God will be your father. Right. So I came with him the next day. And, it was a whirlwind after that. The type of church I was in, they were marrying people off quickly so that people won't fall to sin far as sex. But there's a whole lot of other, sins. Like
lots of sins,
how many, like gluttony, how many church folk is fatness in the church?
Right. It's like we done all falling short of the glory. Right?
Yes, exactly. So I found myself engaged at 17 years old. Right. So not even a year later. Now, this is what I mean when I say loving God is not enough, because there's so many skill sets that you need to have a romantic relationship.
Right.
There's so many skill sets you need as a person. So just because you name the name of Christ doesn't mean that you have what it takes to work a good job, to raise children, right? To be a deacon, to be on the usher board. You still need communication skills, people skills, the soft skills. So that's what I mean when I say loving God is not enough.
Oh, I get
and we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have that. I was 18, he was 21, and we both did love God, but we didn't know enough to be married, Kim, frankly.
So just pause right there for a minute. You're saying in the church that you attended, it was encouraged that, hey, let's just make sure if you're going to be together intimately anyway, then go ahead and make it official and do the right thing according to what the leadership was sharing with you all, which is admirable. So just so you know, I think that's an honorable thing. If you know you're going to be sleeping with this person and hanging out at this level, then why not go ahead and make it official? Or
let's keep talking. How about train them not to? How about have something preemptive that you teach while you're practicing abstinence? Not because we don't want you to enjoy yourself and have release, because what it does to your body, soul, and spirit. How about teach that first?
That's some good teaching right there.
Yeah, because what it did, it literally changed the trajectory of my entire life, right? It literally caused me to end up being in pain for 10 years of a tumultuous marriage that didn't work. So that wasn't the answer, because it still didn't fix anything. So we fixed one problem. We didn't sin because we weren't having sex. I was 16. I wasn't even thinking about that. I literally came in tears looking for a father. Why am I engaged a year later? So my needs weren't met at that specific church, right? Is what I'm suggesting. And I'm not trying to bash church because it happens in all religions.
Of course not. No, these are the views of our own individual selves, everybody. This is not the view of the Kim Jacobs Show, and no legal ramifications of that. All we're saying is our personal opinions on this show.
You got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. So the answer is not to marry people off. The answer is to give them the tools, right, to function in life. So if I came in sexually active, which at that time I wasn't, so it wasn't even about me being sexually active. It was about marrying people off. Now, what I found out decades ago, just before I got there, about 4 couples had fallen and had babies out of wedlock, and people were committing adultery. So the church was in a panic to save its reputation. So it was trying to hurry up young people not to repeat that. I didn't know that. But meanwhile, it jacked up my life because I'm
looking for a father figure.
Yeah, I came looking for a father figure. How am I part of 3 committees? I'm singing on 2 choirs and I'm getting married in February. How did that happen? Right?
That's a whole different thing than what you came signing up for.
Yes. And listen, when you're 16, you're 16. I don't know. And then there at the time, and I'm talking to you guys, we still talk about relationship. We still talk about how to choose. We talk about how to navigate relationships, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? And at the time, they were picturing that my mom was the devil because she's cursing and drinking. but she was cussing them out. Like,
Oh.
what kind of coat y'all got my baby in at 16? She don't even know how to wash dishes and clothes good, and you try to marry her off, right? So she was flipping out. That wasn't helping, but her points were valid, right, Kim?
Right. She just didn't know how to articulate it in a
exactly.
spiritual way. Right?
And you got it. And even just a practical way, because she was cussing them all out, talking about what do y'all got my child involved in?
That's
right?
Hilarious. Yeah, this is like a comedy show. Okay, go ahead. So you're married. You're married.
I'm married. I'm 18. I'm 18 and I'm married.
Okay.
And actually, I ended up getting married. I broke off the engagement because I thought it was too much. My mom was in my ear. I actually had another church person in my ear saying that it's not, they don't think it was of God. It wasn't a match.
Right.
But then the rest of the church stopped speaking to me as well, was my experience.
They stopped talking to you?
Correct. It was just like a high and by kind of thing. Right. So I was like, what happened? I was like, maybe I made the wrong decision because they think she the devil and my mom. So maybe these two. Right. Mind you, I'm like 17 and a half. And my mom's like, I'm not signing any papers. If you got to sign the papers, you shouldn't be getting married. Right. So it's just all of it. It's so much. So when people go into religion and organizations looking for direction, you're welcome to. I think that's necessary. But you also want to have some outside influences and do your own research, do your own homework, because you can get all consumed, whether it's network marketing, religion, businesses, and you're all consumed, and the other areas of your life is really kicked to the side. And it can isolate you, right, Kim? And before you know it, you're going down a whole lane that wasn't necessarily your destination. So 18, I'm married. I actually get diagnosed about 3 months after being married that I have what's called polycystic ovaries. So that means I probably never have children, is what they told me.
Right.
And I was like, now, mind you, I was in college for early child education. I love the kids.
Right.
So I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm going to school to be a teacher and I might not never have kids. So that can't
be your destiny. That can't be your lot in life, right? If that's the case.
Exactly.
But let's say this too. People that don't have physical kids, be mindful of, because this is about how we're balancing our lives. You may not physically have a child out of your body, but God still can bless you to parent a child that stands in need of a parent as wonderful as you. So just know that.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much. I love that you said that, because my mom grew up in foster care. She was actually second generation foster care, and she grew up in a Catholic home. And to this day, she's transitioned now, but she would thank so many of our foster parents, a couple in particular that took her in as a teen, which is very, very minimum that people go in care as a teen and took care of her. So I'm so glad you said that. And there's so many kids that's in need of that, as well. So 18, 3 months into marriage, told I probably never have children. My ex-husband at that time and his mom, they literally fast and pray for 10 days that God will open up my womb. Wow. I did get pregnant. And unfortunately, I carried that child 9 months, and then she transitioned. Unfortunately, she was stillborn, right? Now, mind you, I'm only 19 at this point.
Right.
At 19, I've been through a death of a father, abrupt death of a father who I thought was an aneurysm, but then it was told was suicide. Went to church. I'm swooped up in about a year. I'm married, and now I'm pregnant about 5 months into the marriage, and then 9 months later, I'm losing a baby. Can you imagine?
No.
It's just a lot. So for those that are saying, well, focus, I've been through a lot. This is not about trauma, comparison. What I want you to know is what's a lot to you is a lot to you, and that's okay.
That's don't need to. Somebody type that, please.
Yes.
What is a lot to you is a lot to you. Please type that in the comment section. Don't compare your trauma and your backstory to nobody else's. It's just your own individual walk and journey. And it's a big deal because it's a big deal for you.
You got it.
Go ahead, focus. This is some good talking you doing, man.
Thank you so much. And for those that are believers, God won't put more on you than you can bear. So if it's there, it means you can bear it. Right.
That's my whole philosophy in life. I've been through so many things in my life, and if it's on me, I believe God some kind of way is trusting me to be able to handle it and to figure out how I'm going to get through it, best representing Him. That's what I believe.
Best represent Him, absolutely. And the goal is to become more like Him. So sometimes we'll demonize, because I did for a minute. I demonized my husband, the church. Oh, yes, I did. I talked about them church folks. Hey, Kim, if you were standing next to me getting gas, you would know that whole story. I had that whole story packed in 3 minutes. I can tell you how those church folks.
Oh, we have to gas up. You just lean over. You be one of those people.
Girl,
man, tell you about these church folks. I'll be like, I'm just here to get some gas, man.
Yes, honey. And don't get stuck in the line in the cleaners. Don't get stuck in the line in the cleaners with me. Boy, I was so broken. I was bleeding all over everybody because I was so hurt from what had happened right? Mm-hmm. And it took me 10 years to heal that hurt. And that's what evolved me to being a life coach. I was like, I'm not going to allow anybody to suffer in silence like I did for so many years, all in the name of Jesus, saying that it was hunky-dory and I believe God and I'm healed. But I just wasn't. I did not have the fortitude to stop and recognize, you know what? This hurts. It sucks. Yes. It was unfair. I kept trying to hunky-dory it all the way, quoting 10 scriptures to prove that I was healed, and I was not at all. I was bleeding all over the people at the same time. So, you know, and somebody's listening to me, and you got it. You know it. You paying your tithes. You're going to church every Sunday, the synagogue, the mosque, but you're still bleeding. And here's my opening point to my healing, Kim.
Okay.
I was ticked off at God. Now, don't shut the show off, y'all. Don't do it for those. It's going to get better.
We're not going to shut the show off, but we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to take a commercial break right there. Right. You know, you got to put a pin in it. We're going to take a commercial break and hear why you were so mad with God and what you did about it on the other side of that anger. We'll be right back, everybody, right after this commercial break.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
All right. You were angry with God.
Yes,
Talk to us.
It took me a long time to realize that, but I was like, God, dude, I came to your house for healing, and you got me connected to all these crazy folks, right? I was so ticked off, and it was this underlining of anger that I was projecting on the pastor and all those that influence, which rightfully so. But when I really faced it, I was really ticked off at God that I felt like he betrayed me, that I came in looking for him and connection, and I got all this other shenanigans, right? And so I had to get flat that people are people, whether they're in the church or synagogue or a mosque.
That pause, you have to pause right there. Everybody make note of this.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coming to the hospital, it's because you are sick, right? Mm-hmm. Typically, you're not just going to the hospital to just hang out unless you're going to volunteer to help somebody else that's sick. When you come to church, there are people that are in the church that are also sick and dealing with some different things that they're going through in their own personal journeys. And there are human beings that's here just attempting to assemble together with other believers. And so we're saying, hey, we all believe in the same thing, which is Christ, and we're striving to be as Christ-like as possible. But then there are real life situations and circumstances that happen in people's lives that show the humanness of who we are as individuals. Sure. But I personally believe if we're leaders in the ministry, that we should be doing everything possible to be Christ and let God's light shine through us. And if we're not, then we just need to step aside or something got to happen.
Something got to happen. Yeah, I agree, Kim. Here's what we already know. Everybody's not called. It's no way in Philadelphia is every 2-3 blocks is a church. Really? No. All of those people are not pastors. A lot of people rebel. They don't want to be under leadership. They start something. They start something for money. They start something for fame, fortune, attention. So everybody's not called. That's where it comes when we got to fortify our relationship with God ourselves inside of reading our Bible, our Torah, whatever it is that you're following is necessary that you have that individual relationship, because everybody that's born in their religion believes that their religion is the one.
That's right.
So you can easily get pulled into so much. So who are you to your creator or your believer? It matters, and that's going to drive how you move and how you shape, right?
How you have your being.
How you have your being. So once I got that, and I actually had to forgive God, and I was like, I forgive you. I had to have this conversation, because if we're going to be the closest possible to God, we have to be able to express when we pissed off or angry. And I know that scares a lot of people, the thought of being pissed off at a God that you'll get struck down, or, he'll kill you on the spot, or cause you to have, some kind of sickness. But one, he already know anyway.
He already know you upset. He knew
he
you
already know,
know.
right? So it's best to be transparent and go, I'm really disappointed. I came to your house with this and I end up getting that, right? So I just had to make peace with the fact that these are human beings in here trying to figure it out themselves. And then once I was able to do that, I stepped back and realized I went down that aisle as a choice myself as well. Influence as a young person or not, right? I was only 18, not like fresh 18, like 3 months. I definitely was highly influenced. And part of the responsibility of freeing yourself to be able to heal and to be able to forgive others is to recognize your underlying part. Here's my underlying part, Kim. I wanted to get out of my crazy mama house. I was like, he giving me a house and a car and a place to live, and he don't even want me to work.
See, now that piece right there, that part right there is critically important to you. You were running to something.
I was running. I was running out of one thing to another thing.
Yeah.
So that's where we could get flat, because there's always some nastiness to our humanity, but we don't want to face that, because then we got to take our own responsibility. Mine was, I was trying to get out of this crazy woman's house and let me go into something safe and soft and cushioning. I like the dude, but I didn't really love him. I didn't really know what love was like that. Right. But I was like, he's a good dude, Christian family. Go over his parents' house, they singing, songs and playing the guitar. I was like, this is the blackest Bill Cosby, Cosby show I'll probably ever get to.
Right.
Right. So that's the nasty, if you will, or the underlining part that we don't want to talk about when we are making choices as well. But when I was able to own that part, Kim, the part that wasn't cute to say,
right,
that gave me a special place to have grace on him, his family, and the other church people. And that is that the pastor was trying to save face. He had not set up his ministry to reconcile for those that were fallen, having babies out of wedlock and adultery. So he jumped in and tried to marry everybody. That was his.
Let me pause for a second there, only because of the stuff to come back on me at the Kim James. So in all transparency and fairness to the pastor, we obviously don't know what his intentions were unless he's here to represent himself. But from your perspective, we know that this is what you felt like you were experiencing on your receiving end. The thing that I'll ask is, when you came to your own realization of your own destiny, your own life and accountability, what did you do to make some changes? And how did that?
Thanks for asking that. So, and I get it. I want to make sure we protect Kim's show. This is definitely my experience, it's not hers. And the goal is not to destroy anybody's name. The point is to recognize when you're junk, and when you feel like you messed up, and when you realize your nastiness, it allows you to be more gracious to other people when they're trying to save face. That's the whole point I'm just simply trying to make. So that allowed me to not only then to forgive God, then forgive myself next. Then I was able to forgive all the leadership who I was looking up to and felt betrayed, like you didn't take care of me, right? And then I was able to forgive him because he ended up, unfortunately, we became pastors. Because his mom left the church, had her own pastorate. He was the junior pastor. So that instantly makes me a first lady at 20 something. And I wasn't ready for that.
Well, let me ask you, did you ever have a conversation with the pastor that you're referencing that you felt was kind of saving?
I have not. No, I have not. He already transitioned. So before I even had these aha moments, it wasn't even available to me. right?
Right.
It wasn't even available to me. And the reason why I'm bringing it, but it's all good because I actually, as a relationship coach, you're going to not always be able to speak to people. So I have a whole system of writing letters, doing mirror work where you can still talk it through and get your healing through that process, whether they're there or not. So if you're saying, well, Focus, how I'm going to forgive my husband, he passed away, or my dad, he passed away, I can definitely help you with that. So you can go to the Focus of Love, tell me at Kim Jacobs Show, and I have a 30-minute discovery call, complimentary. Let me know you met me at Kim's show, and then we'll sit down and talk about that. So all is not lost if the person has transitioned, or they're in prison, or you just can't get to them, or they don't even want to speak to you because the pain is still there, right? It's okay. You do not need that person to get your healing and to move on in life. So I just want to say how big that is. That's so necessary because some people feel stopped, right, Kim?
Right.
Like they want to have that closure, and you can absolutely get closure without speaking to that person. So what did I do? That was the order. God, forgive me, forgive the pastorate, and then forgive the leaders, then forgive him. Because again, we became pastors. I was only 20. He ended up cheating with our armor bearer, right? The plot thickens.
This is your husband that cheated with.
That's a pastor. Cheated with the armor bearer, who also was the nanny of our child. The plot thickens. So unfortunately, again, right?
Oh my God. Are we twins? Let me stop you for a second. Are we twins?
Because do share. Let me grab my water.
Yeah, grab your water because we must have a twinning experience here. And for those of you that know me and know my story, which you may not know all of my story because I don't tell it publicly that often, but exactly what you're saying there that happened with you and your husband is something that I've also experienced, and it is a devastating. It's devastating to say the least. Devastating to say the least when you put 100%. If somebody's dealing with your children and you put 100% trust, and knowing that person has your back, has your family's back, has your child or your children's best interest at heart, and to know that there is even a possibility that something like that could be happening behind the scenes is a scary thought.
It's a scary thought. And it went even further because he did an Arnold Schwarzenegger. They had twins together. What the hell? And the reason why I'm sharing in such detail, because there's somebody still sitting there comparing to trauma. The reason why I'm going into much detail, because somebody's saying, well, I could have went through that. But it's so many nuances. So everybody's trauma is your trauma, whether it's marriage, whether it's money, losing a child. I lost a home. That house went to foreclosure. You wouldn't sell it to me. I lost a car, right? I lost an apartment later on. It could be a lot of loss, right? Yes. But the bottom line is back to what Kim said. For those of the Christians or believer, who are you becoming? It's the becoming.
Yes.
Whether you winning or losing in any period of your life, it's who are you becoming during that time is what matters. That's what matters to God ultimately, because he don't care about your, 5-bedroom home. He don't care about your small little apartment. He's asking what relationship you have with me and what impact are you having on the world. That's what he cares about. Right?
That's right.
Kim? So it's definitely devastating. It displaced me. So for those that saying, but you know what, Focus, he took everything from me. I understand. I feel the same way. I couldn't go to church because any church I went to, they like, why is the first lady here and not at her church? Right?
Oh gosh, pause.
Right?
That has happened to me. I visit different churches and I'm coming in because I want a personal fellowship with other believers. And so I'm sitting here, I'm trying to come praise the Lord and worship, and people like, what in the world is she here for? Lady Jacobs, what are you doing? Why are you?
Exactly.
I'm here to praise the Lord.
Totally out of place. So there's no place to worship. People got distant. They got distant again. Because what do you say? Now, mind you, I didn't know for a while. I knew we were separate. He had then left. He left. So I knew we were separated. So again, that put me in an awkward place. So I didn't want to go back to our church, right? And let me just wrap this up a little bit. And so a girlfriend of mine came and got me. She said, hey, let's take a ride. I was so happy to hear from someone because I was like, why is everybody like isolating me? Yeah, like what did I do wrong? Now, I want to back up for a second. I wasn't the most gracious wife. Literally, I'm 18. I had like about 40. My youngest brother had 40 some trophies. My other brother had 50 some trophies. I had 60 some trophies. we were all athletes. So I was
Okay.
a little rough around the edges, is what I want to point out, right? I actually won the Athlete of the Year award. I was a captain of multiple teams, VIP of multiple teams. Definitely admirable and awesome. But don't make you too feminine. Let me say this. Don't make me too feminine, because I was not too feminine, right?
Okay.
So sometimes I was quite controversial when he and I would talk and have conversations. So I
Okay.
don't want to point out in any way that I was a walk in the park, right?
Right. I get it. I get it.
Right? You with me, Kim?
I'm with
So I
you.
just want to say that, out loud in balancing the scales here, because I'm not a victim. We all participate in our life. And that's
That's right.
also what I had to give up, that I'm not a victim. I made a choice to go down that aisle, made a choice to continue the relationship. I made a choice. All the choices I made within that is the choices I made. And
Yeah.
then here's what gives you back your power. And then I want to hear what you guys say about this, Kim. Here's what gave me back my power. Once I realized I participated in all those choices of being in a marriage, I made a new choice. And I chose to not be in the marriage. And that's where I got my power. I could, instead of it keep happening to me, I got that I'm participating the way I am, whatever way that is. And so now I can make a new choice. Let me wrap this story up. So she scoops me up, Kim, and she goes, let's take a ride. I said, okay, let's take a ride. And we go to my church, my husband's church. I'm like, why are we here? She said, go take a look. I said, okay. So I get out the car, I take a look. It's a storefront church. For those that know what that is, it's a store,
Right.
and they make a church inside. And
Right.
it's a stage, and he's standing on stage, and he has this new navy suit on. And I always loved his physique. So I was like, wow, he looks handsome. And he has this paisley, we talking way back when, this paisley tie. And I was like, wow, he looks handsome. Then he leans over and whispers in someone's ear and touching their lip. And I look, and it's her. It's the nanny / armor bearer, dressed exactly alike, with the navy blue dress and a paisley scarf. So now they playing church. So
Now you really going to go. Now, why would your friend take? Oh gosh.
Well, because I'm the only one that don't know. She was giving me a gift to finally find out. So
But that right there, finding out that way, focus, is a trip, because she didn't know that could trigger you to do all kind of different things. Who knows?
That is definitely true. However, what she also knew is that because of my hunky-dory attitude at the time, I would have talked myself out of it being the truth had I not saw it myself.
Good.
Right?
Yes. So she had your back. She's like, you're going to get to the bottom of this.
She had my back. And she was like, oh, you going to know for sure, because I'm going to show you. You are not going to be able to use 10 scriptures to talk yourself. Because you couldn't have, if you would have paid me $1 million, I would have never thought he was cheating. Because this was a Christian man. This was a man that quotes scriptures back and forth. You could not tell me this man wasn't cheating, Kim. So I wouldn't have believed it. If she would have knocked on my door and said, girl, let me sit down and tell you.
Wow.
I would have been like, the devil is using her. She is just jealous because God, I don't even know if I would have said all of that. I definitely wouldn't have believed it. Let me tell you that. But she was wise enough. So for those that are angry that somebody came and told you that your husband was cheating, what you angry about? Did you not really want to know? Because that person,
that's a question to the studio audience.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I'm technically going to act like you're asking me that question for a second.
I was asking the audience, but yes, please feel free. Yes.
Let me assume you asking me too.
Okay.
Now, the reason I say that is because in my younger years, my ex-husband and I, we had a situation. So I knew that without a shadow of doubt, like with all certainty, that there would never be any additional incidents in our lives, in our marriage, because God had restored us and had restored some things in our marriage. And so I was 100% confident. So when people would bring things and say things to me, I would be like, somebody maybe the person, the young lady may have an issue. She may be interested, but not my husband, because I know where he stands. I know where, I mean, like sold out, just like I'm sold out for Christ. Sold out for my husband, 100% sold out. With all confidence. So I can relate to what you're saying. Go ahead, carry on.
Absolutely. So I didn't even think about it. It didn't even come to my mind. I was so oblivious. And mind you, I'm still in my 20s too. So this is my first real relationship where I'm not only having sex, I'm living with a man. He's providing for me, if you will, to the most part. And so now we're separate. So I'm devastated at that. I'm wondering, how am I going to pay these bills? So I'm highly distracted. It is not in my thought pattern that he's cheating at all. So I ran back to the car after seeing this. They're dressed alike. And not only, now here's the thing, I didn't see them at a restaurant.
You see them in church.
I see them at church. People who I've went to their wedding, their christening for their children, their housewarming, and the church is packed because it's a revival.
Right.
So I'm not just betrayed by them two, because I didn't walk in at our house. I didn't walk in at a hotel.
Right.
I'm at church. So the level of betrayal and distrust went from his mother, which is the pastor, and her husband, his siblings that was in there, and everybody that knew me, that I'd been to their house and broke bread at their barbecue. And so the level of devastation was in comparison to anything I've ever experienced at that point, because it's not just me walking in on them. Because you can't tell me that everybody else ain't see what I saw, and I saw that in 2 minutes. They had a whole service, and he touching the lower of her back, and he's whispering in her ear, his lip touching her ear, very sensual. I was like, what the? I ran back to the car and I cried for hours where it wasn't even tears, because I was so devastated that not only, because here's my thought, Kim, there's a right way to do wrong. Yeah,
there's a right way to do wrong. Yes. Okay.
Are you standing there in church doing this? And this is where I was also ticked off. I walked up. Now, this is a long time ago when we first got married, Kim. I walked up on him. He worked at a hospital, and there was this Caucasian nurse backing him up, obviously flirting with him.
Right.
So in that moment, I got ticked off. I was like, it's a right way to do wrong. Why didn't you get one of those Caucasian nurses making $75,000, $80,000? We could be sitting down eating cucumber sandwiches trying to figure this all out. You're going to go sleep with the help? We paying her. What's she gonna make, more fried chicken, sweeter Kool-Aid? So I was so ticked off. Like, why didn't you get something that was gonna help versus someone that's lower than us, if you will, in the sense of income and adding value to the house? I was so ticked off. So you want to have, we all, when it comes to a breakup, because that's what we talking about today. We talking about a breakup. You're gonna have so many emotions running through. And you want to make sure, one, put your phone down, stay off of social media. You don't want to put yourself out there like that, because it's there forever.
Yes, it's a permanent document.
Permanent document.
That's why I'm so careful what I share with everybody, because at the end of the day, I don't want anything that damages or hurts anybody else's story, because everybody has their own version of their stories. And so at the end of the day, I genuinely, and I know, and some people say, I cannot believe you would ever say that out your mouth, but I genuinely I love the people. I love the people that I have had these situations with. I could never not love. I could never not love Frank as my ex-husband person. I love him. I've been with him since I was 18 years old, and I'll love him for life, and in life in a different kind of way. So it's not like I want to be with him. I do not want to.
Exactly.
In being
absolutely.
In that regard. But the people that even had some of the parts in playing some of the things that they did to lend to the damage associated with my family, my children, most importantly, way outside of my own heart is my children, is I still know that if God can love a person, I can love a person. So at the end of the day, I'm never going to hang out and be your bud or anything like that. But I have total forgiveness and go about your business. And I
agree. There's some boundaries there that because healing and forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation.
No, not to me. Not at all.
So I want people to hear that, because you can forgive someone and you love God, don't mean you need to restore that marriage.
No.
Because mind you, we were friends. I made her dinner one day solo, her and I, to thank her how she's contributed to our family. Before I knew what was popping off.
Of course. You can't imagine the things I did.
So I'm bringing home your point that doesn't mean now that I forgive her, we're going to break bread. I threw my son a 25th party. We all came. She came. With my ex-husband, his father, rightfully so. Which some people was like, "Focus, why are you inviting them?" Because that's his dad. That's his other parent. He needs to be there to support him in whatever way he wants to support. Now, mind you, his dad gave him their house where they first came together. So now
the new couple.
You got my ex-husband and his wife gave my son their house. So now I'm going into the house my son was raised with when they got together. So that was one thing.
Wow.
So the day I came in that house, I walked through. I said, this is the first and last time I'm walking through their house. After this is my son's house. So I walked through, I prayed, I allowed myself to be upset, I allowed myself to laugh at memories and different things in my head, and then I was done. Then we got curtains and everything else with my son in that house. Then I went on and did what mothers do and start decorating the house, right? Because I was
Decorating
over
your
it.
son's house, right?
Decorating my son's house. That was it. So when they came to the party, Kim, they walked in, I hugged him and I hugged her. One of my girlfriends jumped out and ran out the house. She was like, I can't focus. So she was there with all of it. So she was like, I can't. So I'm chasing her down the street, like, wait. She
You're
was
like, don't go. This is my son's house.
I said, dude, it's okay. She said, it's not okay. It's not the way they did to you. I said, I agree with that. I said, but you got to see it from my point of view.
Right.
Because we believe that death do you part. Had she not cheated with him, girl, I would be still miserable in that relationship because you know I was miserable. So when I hug her, I'm like, thank you, Jesus, because I would be so bitter and upset that 30 years of my life in this doggone fruitless marriage, because we were not compatible. That's the other thing, Kim. It ain't like that she destroyed a happy home.
Right.
We weren't compatible, right?
That's interesting.
So it's another way to twist it and frame it to make it work for me.
Wow.
Right? To make it work for me. So I was like, listen, I'm okay with it. She's part of the story of my freedom. Now I get to be who I am. Right?
That's interesting. I'm glad you're saying that, because like you say, your own trauma is your own trauma and your own story. Because in my case, the story was totally different. I literally thought I was in a blissful kind of situation and I would ask, are you satisfied? Are you happy? And all of these different things. And had family meetings. Divorce is never an option in our family, and all of these things. So I'm thinking that we are a great godly example of a husband and wife that other people can follow and model their marriages after. So for me, I was like, what kind of sci-fi horror is this that's happening in my life? I had no idea at all that was even the possibility of something that could even become a part of my reality.
Exactly. So, well, I look at the audience as a range now. You have from someone who thought their marriage was whole and complete and thriving to someone that was dysfunctional. So, so for those that are thinking that only if I should have and would have and could have, the reality is that you just don't know. 51% of this country is still getting divorced, and that's the first divorce. It goes to 70% of second marriages and even higher for third, because people's tolerance is low. So the answer is not do more in this case. For the entrepreneurs, this do more marriage is not the answer. It's
okay.
So
come on with some answers. We're gonna hear some on this final phase of our conversation here. We're gonna hear some solutions on how you can get through some of this love and relationship breakdowns, barriers, things that leave you unexpectedly divorced, or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. Well, I've created several of them already, which is how you frame it and look at it. First, forgiving yourself. That's a solution, right? Also, the way you frame it is a solution, right? Being able to practice that, you know, this happened in that moment, and now I get to choose a different way of being, right? So I kept participating in this marriage, and then I decided not to. That's a solution. You can decide not to. You can decide we're going to therapy, or unfortunately, I'm gonna have to dissolve this relationship because I can no longer be financially abused. That's a solution, right? Go to your pastor or your head and say, we need some counseling. That is absolutely a solution. Yes. And sometimes you have to start with you. Most of the time, you're gonna have to start with you, which is fasting and praying for you, with you, by you, and allow that person to come when they come. Because if you both are going back and forth, who's going to stop the ramming back and forth? Someone has to be still enough to hold it down and make that decision. So when you are decided that you've broken up and it's like, this is the end, you got to fortify yourself with a village. So all my clients, I ask them, who's your village? And then we have to really, take an inventory. How healthy is your village? Because if we got only, bitter women that are upset with men anyway, that definitely is not the way to go. You want some healthy women in your life, right, Kim, that can give you some insight about relationship, that will let you know when you're wrong. So if you are always right to your friends, that is not your village. That's your yes crew. That's your yes club. You need someone to look you in the face and go, girl, you got to cook sometimes. Right? Like, really. You should be grateful he comes home every day and chooses you, right? You
Yeah.
can flip it, man. You hear it. So that's part of the solutions. Your mindset is everything. First,
Yeah.
first and foremost, get out of the thought that life is happening to you, right?
Y'all
It's
type
happening.
this stuff. Some good feedback.
Yes, it's happening for you, and you can read more about this in my book, Kim, if we want to share that. It's called "What Is the Focus of Love." It's
Okay, let me
called "What
pop
Is
that
the
on the
Focus of
screen.
Love?" Yes, ma'am. And you can get it from Amazon or my actual my website, thefocusoflove.com. Having clarity, because that's key. If you want to heal in a breakup, you got to have clarity, and you got to live on purpose. A lot of us are picking spouses because of their finances, how good they look, their Instagram model, right? He got 2 cars, he got a 6-figure job, and he's 6 foot. That's some shallow stuff, because when it comes to having to have communication and raise kids and create a trust and live on a daily basis, you want this person walking in their purpose, which you might not meet them there, but that definitely needs to be a conversation like, hey, what's up with you in life? What you trying to, what you trying to get? So you can create a juicy life together. But if you both winging it, that's going to be stressful, Kim. You both trying to figure out life, right? you don't want to wing it. You want to have a plan like, hey, this is where I want to be in the next 5 years. And again, ladies, in this culture, that's not as prevalent as other cultures where they're having a conversation. So be patient with the gentleman in that. For those that are looking for new love, be patient in that. You ask him, you cultivate that. And he might go, well, I always wanted to. Really? Tell me more. So the gentleman on the first date might not already have a purpose and a plan.
Okay.
But if he has something you can work with, you can talk him through, and he's coachable and he takes some steps, then voila. Because best know, ladies, gentlemen going to have to train and coach you in something as well. It might be in how to be feminine and how to talk to him.
Yeah, I know. I'll definitely need some coaching, given that I've only been coached and trained by one person since I was 18 years old, and I was almost like coming to America. Like, how high do you want me to jump? What do you want me to do? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I believe wholeheartedly it's an honor and a privilege to be submissive to someone that you believe is following Christ in their steps. And so what? I don't have a problem submitting and being honorable to the person that I believe God has put as the head of our family unit. Yes, it's okay to submit to me, in my opinion.
Correct.
But as long as you know I wasn't already some other role when you met me. I was already a leader. So still, I don't try to squash my leadership capabilities, because I can lead you into some areas that obviously, if you follow me, we wouldn't be here.
You got it. Hence why the Bible says you submit one to another.
To another, right.
One to another. And see, we miss that part because we're going to absolutely see the purpose of togetherness and the relationship is to enhance each other's life journey.
Yes.
And you're a mirror to one another. So you're going to always see each other blind spots. That's why it's 1,000% necessary to have great communication. I got to be able to tell you before you post that picture on Instagram of how awesome you cut that lawn, that it looks jacked up and crazy. I need to tell you that before all the comments go, dude, you need to hire somebody and crush your whole ego. If I can't tell you, husband, you tried your best. But I think we might, to give you time back. How about if we get a service to do it? You tried your best, but it's a little off. If I can't tell you that, who can? Well, I bet you about $1. Social media will, and social media ain't nice.
Social media is not nice at all.
Not at all. So they will crush
put
you
in your place.
Yes. And I use that example because it's prevalent today. Your spouse can't talk to you. You popping something on social media, and then everybody come after you about something. Hence Keke Palmer, right? Unfortunately, her baby daddy put it in there. It's the outfit for me, and you're a mom though. And then they crushed this young man. So I don't know if it was because they couldn't talk, but here's what I want to present on the Kim show. And that is, you got to be able to talk to one another. You got to be able to set parameters, because so many people are destroying their relationship on social media, Kim, because they're dropping something on there and then everybody's coming for them.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look stupid to even take that person back. You might have was going to take them back. You would be willing to forgive their infidelity or them cursing or embarrassing you. But
there's nothing wrong with that if that's what the person wants to do.
Exactly.
If you believe that God can reconcile your relationship, you're with your ex-husband or ex-wife, and God, you feel God is pushing you in that direction, because I believe God loves marriage. And I believe that he does not want people to be divorced. Personally,
Correct.
I don't think that that's
Correct.
what his desire would be for us
You got it.
personally.
You
But
got
for
it.
whatever the reason, you can't force somebody to be in any
Not at all.
situation that they don't want to be in, and
That's
that
exactly
they created certain things to happen that make it be where it is today. That's all life's
got
choices. But Danielle says, I am guilty of that, which I think that's the comment when you said, be patient with your new loved one and cultivate the new relationship. And she
Yes.
said, I'm guilty of that. If you want to comment
Yes.
on any of it.
Exactly. I do. We're all guilty of it. And it's okay to recognize where you come short of something. That's what this all is about. Because the more, I promise you, everyone, the more grace you have on yourself to forgive yourself and see your faults, it will be the same to others. If you hard on yourself, always talking down to yourself, I'm stupid, I don't believe I did that, all of that, and most of our talk is about 80% negative. So you won't be able to see the grace that you need to offer someone else if you're constantly on you. So you want to be in prayer. You want to be in fasting and meditation. I know we've been hearing that for decades, and it goes in
Right.
one out of next year. But the staples are the staples. And many people want to just keep listening to gurus on YouTube and Amazon and reading all of these books. But you won't be still enough to hear yourself and go, listen, I'm nasty. I come off so nasty and so abrupt. Who cares that you know everybody love language? But if you nasty, what does it matter if no one can tell you anything because you know everything? What does it matter? We still talking about solutions. It's talking about self-reflection. Now tomorrow I'm going to actually help those that are tempted into getting back into love. You've done the work. For those in the audience, if you're on Kim Jacobs show, you've probably done a lot of work already. So let me tell you what I'm offering tomorrow. For those that done the work and you're ready to get back into the dating scene, I'm actually going to go over how to set up your profile so you can draw the person that you need. I have a client, she sent me her profile. She said, Kim, she kept saying, I keep drawing men that want to be well kept. I said, well, right? Well kept means he want to work from home. He want to be the homemaker, wash the clothes, dishes, do the kids and all like that. And she runs the household. So she said, I keep drawing that. I don't want that. But I read her profile. Her profile says, I can't cook, don't really want to cook, can't clean either, and I'm busy. I got, a lot of kids, and I don't want bull crap. So hit me up. Well, that's straight says predators and people that, want to fill those gaps. So tomorrow from 7 to 8 on my page, Focus James, I'm going to go over what should be in your profile, what kind of pictures you should be there, to make sure you're attracting the right person, and you want to become that person too. We're going to talk about that tomorrow from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time.
So the focusoflove.com?
It's going to be on Facebook, which is Focus James, my Focus James page. You can put that in there.
Okay, I'm typing this Focus James Facebook page.
Yep.
And I'm putting that in the comment section for you all. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you all make note of that. And I put it over here in the comment section for you as well. Sandra Rump Jackson says that this is great information and that her show, she has a show as well, the audience would really benefit and grow from this. So I just connected you all together.
Thank you. I
so you can be a guest on her show, is what she said.
I would love that. I would love that. And hopefully this has been helpful. I know I went over like a large span of time, but I really wanted to hit so many points, Kim, for your audience, because I know you have a huge span of audience. You have people that just getting to know Christ to old heads that, know the hymns, right? And you have newbies that's just getting to know who God is, and people that have known him a long time. But ultimately all is grace, and more grace. The more we live in grace and gratitude, we'll be able to navigate this life, whether we're breaking up or starting a new relationship. But when you have this self-righteous, you gotta make six figures. You gotta go to church every week. You gotta pay your tithes and not have grace on people. I mean, it's just not going to give you the love and deep connection that we're all truly longing for. Because nobody want to be around somebody that's constantly complaining. And
never,
right?
Oh, here, you talking about old heads now. I'm not calling, let me be clear. I'm not calling Mother Lofton an old head.
Okay.
I am calling her a marvelously wonderful, well-seasoned leader in the Church of God in Christ.
Yes. Oh, look at that hat.
Well, okay. So she says, Mother Patricia Lofton, our Department of Women, State Supervisor of Women, says, ladies, this is so good. God bless you for sharing this life-changing solutions.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mother Lofton, for even making that comment, taking the time to type that. Danielle Waters says, I am having a women's empowerment brunch on October 28th, and I would love for you ladies to be a part of it. Thank you.
Yeah,
actually, Danielle, believe it or not, I'm actually receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award, Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award on that same day. So I won't be able to be there, unfortunately, but I'm sure a lot of other people will be there. And I'm honored that you are, and I can participate and do something and send it in or something too, and I'd be honored to do that. Let's see. Jacqueline said, let's see what Jacqueline said. Great content shared. What is the focus of love? Grabbing that book today. So let's put the books up again. What we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break real quick.
Okay.
And I know we're going to go a few minutes longer here because I want you to share a couple more things. Okay. But let's put your books up. Let's put your books up. Mm-hmm. Let people know that you're the author of 3 books. Tell us about each of them.
Yes. So the first one is, your receiver says, how to heal, how to have a healthy love affair. I changed that one to what is the focus of love. It was kind of left wing. So I changed that to that. But that's my first book. I actually created that from your friend, our friend, Les Brown. I got out of his training 4 days, 10-hour days on a speaker's boot camp. And on my way home, I wrote the table of contents for that book. He said, Focus, your story is amazing. People need to take you home. So I wrote that book in the 90 days, leaving Les Brown, Chicago, speakers boot camp. And then next I did Harness the Power Within with a gentleman who I met at Les Brown's event. It's about 11 African-American entrepreneurs sharing the whys of business and how it got birthed through their life story. And the one in the middle is just definitely my baby. It's called Daddy-Daughter Dynamic. As you guys heard a little bit about my story with my dad and why I actually end up in church. This is 13 powerful women from 7 different states, 5 different time zones, sharing their dance with their dad and how it cultivated their life and the healing path that they had to go through to kind of fix what had happened was, right? So that was an amazing opportunity to work with that many women and hear that many stories.
And people can get a copy. I want to make sure you know how you can get a copy of her book. Stay connected with Focus James, thefocusoflove.com. Everybody that's on the audio podcasting devices, make sure you know it's thefocusoflove.com and the Focus of Love Tribe. Go and be a part of that tribe on Facebook.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kim. And I share different nuggets there that I don't share publicly to Kim's part, because everything you can't say publicly, but to the family and the tribe, I'll go in there and live and share some more detail and expand on something I might not say too publicly. Right. So that's the treat you get back there. Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah. We're going to take a commercial break, come back and hear any final kind of thoughts and tips or anything that maybe you didn't get a chance to share throughout the broadcast. It's been some great information. I saw so many comments. I hope that I'm doing you all justice I see you, Leisha. Over there, and glad that you're on. You say, hey, Miss Kim, there is life after death. I mean, after death is not death. Huh? So it could be like a death because it does feel like a death.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I know heartbreak is literally real. And some people die of a broken heart. And there are situations that can cause that. Okay. There is life after divorce. I host a seminar with love panelists as well. Is what Sandra's Authors Forum talk show says. Congratulations on that, Kim Jacobs. I don't know whatever I did. On the Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm excited. I cannot even believe that even going to be able to have in my repertoire. God has put me before kings and queens, and I did not know this. Okay, let's see. Great content shared. What is the focus of love? Communication is the key. Thank you all for typing everything and for being such an active studio audience. I hope I'm sure I did miss a lot of comments here. That's right. I see this is good. My audience will grow from that. Divorce may be your golden opportunity to flourish, is what someone said, to live, flourish, and flow. I would personally, I don't want to ever come across any differently. I would never want to be divorced from my husband. I would have never wanted that to be the case. So I don't ever want to come across any differently. And I definitely want people to be aware that if you see pictures of Frank or me and our kids and stuff, that's because he's their daddy. And I want him to always be a part of their lives in any regard. That's very important that he be able to celebrate and I be able to celebrate, and we co-parent and be able to celebrate our children's success and opportunities, graduations, marriage, weddings. Why in the world would I not let the parent or he not let me be a part if we have children together? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's normal, but for some people it's not.
Yeah, it
Why you
definitely is.
giving no pictures? Like, you're alive. Who the daddy?
Well, yeah, and that's perfect. And this is perfect that you bring this up. That's what worked for you and your family, and the way you all were able to cultivate that healing around it. But every family is not that neat. You have some narcissistic people, some abusive people, some financially abusive people, and you can't co-parent with everyone. And that's just the reality, because they're not willing to get healed. They're not thinking of the children. They come in and they take over. They're looking to attack, right? The other parent. So, just the PSA. You have to, again, assess it for you and take into account how you're living. There's so many people that are running literally. In my childhood, we had to run from my father. He was trying to kill us as a result of his own psyche and his own mental illness. So there was no reconciling in that situation. So I just want people to hear Kim is an anomaly. There's not many relationships out there that can healthily resolve the marriage didn't work and then have a healthy relationship after that. Now, I do want to say that stems from Kim's heart. That's because of the relationship she has and what she chooses. And you can choose it too if it's reasonably healthy, that I too recognize that my child needs both parents if it's reasonably healthy. But unfortunately, Kim, more often than not, the level of mental health and strain from divorce, most people are not able to bring that thing together, unfortunately. So you have to just take your time and recognize what's healthy for our family function. And it may be having 2 birthday parties.
Okay, that's good. You know what? That's why, again, I'm Kim Jacobs, the balance doctor. I'm not Kim Jacobs, the expert in every subject matter. Some things are new to me in my own walk. And so I actually have to submit and humble myself and learn.
Thank you. I didn't mean it that way at all.
No. This is good. This is me complimenting you.
Oh, thank you.
This is me complimenting you. You're the expert in this area. And so sometimes we may be an expert in other areas, but what works, like you said, what works for me may be just something that's working only for me. But you just described several other scenarios that it would not work in those instances.
Correct. And you don't want to put your children in danger. You don't want to put your mental health. So initially, as we're wrapping up, I had to distance myself from my husband, dropping my son off because he would pull up with the woman in the car. I wasn't ready for that at the time. It was so fresh. And I asked him, I said, listen, dude, I let it go. Y'all won. Y'all got the relationship. Why she got to ride with you? I don't need that smack in my face every time you drop our son. We live 10 minutes away. Well, she my woman now, so it's happening. Just being bitter, just being nasty, it was not necessary.
Wow. So I could not have even thought of that. That's what I'm saying. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. So I had to have at that point, I said, well, you drop him at my mom's, and then we'll go from there. I had to protect my own mental because I was already grieving from it. It was so new. It was only weeks or months. And now you just want to throw this woman in my face. We're not even divorced yet. And y'all want to function like a full family, disregarding my presence, right? So I had to put that boundary there to help my mental. You feel me, Kim?
Wow,
you feel me?
yes.
So you got to take your time where you are and honor that and not let nobody shove you into a place that you're not in that moment is what I want to say. This is all part of the solution. We still talk about the solution because before you get over here, there's a lot more road to get to before you get all the way over here where you're healed and you can shake hands. I wasn't able to hug her at that point. If I got a little close enough, I probably would have choked her out. Praise Jesus.
Okay.
So I
don't listen to Kim's advice in this regard. Y'all listen to Focus James.
No. Yours is
I didn't have this experience.
There's definitely a point of view here because there's 8 billion people in the world. So namaste to you, Kim. Please, I love the contrast because this is to let people know humbly your situation is your situation. So don't need to really compare. You really want to look at yours in a holistic view of what works for you and not trying to shoot for focus goals or Kim goals. But what is it what's part of your journey that God is getting you closer to to look more like him in your moment, if that makes
That's
sense.
good. Good advice. Dennis, I saw that you typed a paragraph, so I want to take a moment. I was taught as a child that when it gets dark and the street lights come on, make it home. I believe no matter what faith you have or one chooses to follow is great news if one receives the message that is being shared, basically. Thank you so much for your comment, Dennis, and for taking the time to be on today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Let's see. Lots of comments. I'm sure Focus is going to go back and maybe read and respond to some of these comments that I didn't get a chance to say. Every situation is different, is what Sandra is saying. Black is beautiful. He just said, "Oh, a different shot." He like, "Hey, y'all, black beautiful."
Thank you.
I don't know what y'all talking about today, but black is beautiful, especially with Focus James being up there on the screen. Amen.
Oh, thank you.
What was the best thing that happened to me? Okay, Leisha says that in the words of Shawnee, divorce was the best thing that happened to me. It hurt. I was mad, and it was hard, but it all worked out for my good, is what she said.
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned her, because we got to watch all of that on social media, and it was she, especially at the end, she dealt with that with poison grapes. But people judged her for a long time, Kim, because she always seemed angry at Shaq. But we don't know what was going on. She already know he was cheating, staying out late, and there was an accusation of another child while they were married. So we're watching them when they're getting interviewed. Like, why is this woman so bitter? She's so ungrateful. He's a millionaire. He's an athlete. He's a dad. So again, guys, social media have you judging, talking about what people should or shouldn't be, and you don't know what's going on in the background. So be gracious when you go to drop these comments about people's relationship. Be gracious. You don't know the whole story. You only know what they allow us to see. So then it came out that he said, my biggest regret is I was not a good husband. I was not putting my wife first, right? He confessed that, and it was a beautiful, beautiful confession. And if we want to talk about all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, that's going to happen. Divorce, separation, breakups, that's going to happen. How can we make it work together for the good? In my case, in Kim's case, she's sharing her story to help other people. I'm sharing my story. I wrote books, and I have 2 other ebooks. I'm now a life coach. So you can still make it do what it do.
That's
even
right.
when you don't do it in God's will. Because there's a whole lot of marriages that is not God's will. God ain't tell you to marry that person. And that the choice was bad. God ain't tell me to marry this person. The choice was bad.
Right.
It's just God wasn't in it from the dough. From the first napkin you chose, God wasn't in it. Right? So let's not act like that God is going to sanction every marriage for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
A long time, Kim, to consider divorce, because I was raised in a to death do you part.
That's what I believe it should be. Yeah. I mean, I believe that God said exactly what he meant in the word.
I agree. But it was going to be crowded in that bed between me and him and her. I see it. So I had to make some kind of decision.
It's like, so it's like, okay, okay, God. Ain't more than we can bear. How many? Some got to give here, because you know what? Because people can get hurt in situations like that. Even unbeknownst to, like, if you're getting sideswiped and you don't even know, you have somebody right here this close to you thinking that they have your best interest at heart, and they know between them and your spouse that they are together, and anything could happen to you, to your children. That is not of God. God does not want you to be in that situation, putting you and your children at risk. That is crazy.
And I'll give the 3 A's. There's 3 A's depending on where you believe or don't believe, but some biblical scholars believe it's 3 reasons why you can't get a divorce, which is abandonment, adultery, and abuse. And all 3 was in my marriage. So all 3 of those reasons is why you can get a divorce, because you can't tell me God wants you to stay in a marriage with somebody beating you down. I don't believe that.
And y'all, you can put your own comments. This is a controversial discussion. When you're watching it, whether you're watching as a replay or you're watching it now, put your thoughts, put your scriptures, put whatever it is that you believe support why you're saying what you're saying. And by all means, we'll look at those comments as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have to get my last episode sponsor, because these people took the time to contribute. And then we're going to come back and hear a closing comment from Focus James.
Yes.
We went with a special episode here, went a little longer on purpose.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
2 things are almost certain about you. Number 1, you know people who travel. Of course you do. Everybody travels. It's an $8 trillion industry. It's what people dream about doing. And number two, you probably aren't making the commission. You see, every car rental, every hotel, and every resort pays commissions. They may go to a website or to a traditional travel agent. But trust us, someone is earning it. Well, what if we could show you a way to put that commission in your pocket? It doesn't hurt to take a peek. Interested?
There we go.
Who are those people?
Are we back? Yeah.
Oh, we are back, but what I want to do is play this final one too.
Okay, fair enough.
Who are those people? You know, the guys playing golf in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. The woman wearing $1,000 shoes at a cafe in the city. The kid in the ripped jeans driving a $200,000 sports car. What do they know that you don't? One word: leverage. Working smarter, not harder. Owning their own business, not being owned by a job. The good news? We have it. Interested?
All right, everybody, we are back. And if you're interested in learning more about how to experience more about owning a piece of the travel industry without any special quotas or anything, email trueyougetaway@gmail.com and we'll connect you to the right sources. trueyougetaway@gmail.com. And I do have to acknowledge and want to acknowledge that the confidence tones that you saw earlier is with Dr. Joe D. Bear, which is drjod.com/confidence-tones. And let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. And our final episode sponsor was attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. You're dealing with a disability, wrongful death of a loved one, or any type of workers' compensation claim. Reach out to them at 704-457-5000. All right, focus. We have had some heated discussion today, y'all. We done talked about relationships, how she was an ex-first lady, basically.
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And now she is a relationship coach.
Yes.
Tell us what you want us to know as some closing comments.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I love each and every one of you. And I'm saying that sincerely because we are human to human. All of us really want deep connection. Right, Kim? We want to feel that we're accepted, that we're seen, and that we're heard. And I want to let you know that on the Kim Jacobs Show and myself, we see and hear you. She comes here every week wanting you to be seen and heard, giving you a voice as a guest, giving you a voice to make comments. And everyone wants to be able to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. So definitely subscribe to Kim's show and come back on a weekly basis, checking out.
Donate.
And,
Let me put that up
donate.
there.
Guys, donate as well. And then I also want to extend the invitation to join my tribe. It's called the Focus of Love Tribe right here on Facebook. And I would love for you to come a part of it. Let me know how I can help you, because my ultimate goal is that here's my motto. Here's what my gift is to the world, is to help people heal the hurt so they won't repeat the pain, so they can actually get the love they want and have the life they love. So whatever area you're in that motto, I'm here to support you. So if you're ready to jump into love, I'll be here tomorrow from 7 to 8, helping you to design your profile of your pictures. And I'll be able to help you to, to get some core text messages on those apps to get your flirt on and bring life back together and get the love you want, right? So I love love in every way that is, whether you're trying to heal from it or whether you're trying to get it. I could definitely support you. My name is Focus. And Kim, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate it.
I am so glad you came. And when you say creating a profile, you're going to help people get on social media, on these apps? What are you saying?
That's exactly right. So on the dating apps, right? So whether it's Facebook app or whether it's Twakify, whether it's Plenty of Fish, on whatever type of app that you're already on or you're looking to get on an app, I'm going to help you describe yourself in a way that draws the person that you really want to be with, right? To get that man you're looking for, get that lovely lady you're looking for, and the pictures. I got to talk about the pictures, right, Kim? Because the pictures are everything when it comes to men. So you got to make sure you had the right lighting, ladies, on your pictures. So that's what I'm going to be sharing on tomorrow. That's a real fun day. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you know what? I also thank you, Kim, for reiterating that. I'm going to offer 3 people on the Kim Jacobs Show. If you're on Kim Jacobs Show, you message me and say, hey, Focus, I want you to audit. I do dating audits. The value is normally $40, but I'm going to do it for free for you. And what you're going to do is message me. You're going to message me at Focus Dames. You're going to send me screenshots of your picture and screenshots of your words you currently use. And we're going to tweak it together until it's just right so you can put it right back. I just did that for a client, and it tripled her engagement in like 3 days. Just the right wording and to give her the right guy she's looking for.
I know we're going to end, but I have a huge concern.
Okay.
Meeting people just on some social media app thing. I'm paranoid when I just meet you regular, like in the grocery store. Now you want me to come just on an app and meet you. I have some family members that have the love of their lives on apps. I am way too paranoid. I don't know. I need help with that.
So you would be matchmaker. So you would get a matchmaker like a company called Twakify that actually matches you with live people. They do background checks. They do identity checks. And you do a huge profile that you fill out, and they go find live people for you is what I would recommend for you. Instead of trying to get over the fear, just let someone do the work for you if you can afford it. It's normally like a down payment of a house, but that's why most people do. That's why that knocks you out right there. But here's the reality, and this is what we want to do as Christians, right? We got to walk by faith. Whether we meet them in church, because honey, both our hurt came from church. So we might be better off going to Walmart or on an app. I'm just saying, but you still got to do your due diligence. And I definitely share with people, you absolutely video chat before you go to a live place with this person, always in public. You let them know, my family and friends know. And for me, when I walk up, I take a selfie, say, hey, let's take our first selfie. And I'm going to share this with my girlfriends, just so you know. That's what I tell the person that I meet when I meet them at Redstone or one of the restaurants. And most men are like, okay, yeah, I want you to feel comfortable, right? So that's how you vet them out. You have conversations first, videos before you leave. We're going to talk some more. Everybody see Kim. Kim is melting down. She's like, oh, Lord.
I need a whole counseling session just for
I got you. We're going to do it. One-on-one. We're going to do it. Yes.
All right. And let me just say, I love the church. I love church. I love the church. Focus loves the church.
Absolutely.
We love church people. We love the word of God.
Yes,
we love God. All of that stuff. I'm sure I speak on both of our behalf.
Yes. Thank you for reiterating that. Because I know I pulled it all apart. But I am so with you, Kim. I absolutely love the church. I love God. And there's another part that we have to talk about so we don't keep repeating that pain and people getting hurt in church. Because graciously, there's people in church, mosque, synagogue, and we don't want to get bitter with God because we forget that part.
That's good. Well, you have to come back, Focus, clearly. And hopefully I have a few Freestyle Friday experts that come on Fridays. Y'all put it in the comments section if y'all want Focus to be one of our Freestyle Friday experts. We have a panel. They come on and we talk about different topics that matter. Clearly, this is a topic that matters to the community. So on some Fridays, maybe you can come back on and just share 5-7 minutes worth of tips or something.
Sure, I would love that, Kim. Yeah.
All right. Definitely. All right, everybody. Listen, thank y'all for tuning in today. This has been informative and educational for me. I don't usually get on my own show and be like that, taking notes. I'm over here. I have pages of notes. I literally have pages and pages of notes. Married at 18, and then he was 21, twins, all this stuff. All right. I learned so much from you today.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you having me.
Y'all make sure you're a part of the project tomorrow. If you're interested in setting your own profile up. Now, if you're watching this and it's not September 1st and you're watching it as a replay, because I do replay episodes, then she's not having the workshop that day. If it's not September.
Just message me and I'll take care of you. Tell me you heard it on the Kim Jacobs Show and I'll take care of you.
No matter what date it is?
no matter what date it is, I got you covered. If you're a fan of Kim's, you're a fan of mine. So you let me know.
All right, y'all. So no matter when you're watching this replay or not, reach out to Focus James, thefocusoflove.com, and join her tribe, the Focus of Love tribe on Facebook. I'm going to go join it now so I can see some more stuff that you're talking about. And everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You are amazing. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim, for having me.
Thank you, Mother Lofton, for tuning in too. I really appreciate it. All right, everybody, have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your